Thanks for staying with us. Now, ASUU on February 14th embarked on a strike to press home its demand, including the government's investment in the nation's university infrastructure and payment of members' salaries through the recommended University Transparency and Accountability Solution, among several others. Now, speaking during an interview on Channels Television, Politics Today, ASUU President Professor Emmanuel Osodeke said the union is waiting for a positive response from the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. As far as ASUU is concerned, the strike can end tomorrow. We have finished the negotiations. Let the government call us this night that we should come tomorrow and sign the agreement. We will be, said Osodeke. Now, let government tell us they have finished testing the UTAS. We have accepted it. By tomorrow, we will call off the strike, and we are, I think we're finished with negotiations. He said, we are just waiting and challenging the government. He says, when will they sign the agreement? When will they accept the UTAS? Those are the two questions that we need to ask the Nigerian government. So the ASUU leader also accused the federal government of not taking the aggrieved lecturers seriously. The reason he explained was reasonable for the prolonged industrial action. He also said the government has failed to pay the striking lecturers their salaries for the past 5 months, noting that the tool used as a blackmail to punish the university workers will not work. So on Monday, the ASUU strike action entered its 140th day, with the union and the federal government failing to reach an agreement for the overall good of the Nigerian students. So this is really concerning for every citizen of this country. And today we are asking who truly has the power, right, to end this seemingly unending strike that ASUU has embarked on. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. So this conversation is quite sad because I can't even imagine for 5 months, you know. I mean, my son finished his junior WAEC about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. And he's been like, I want to come back home. I want to come back home. Now imagine, right, somebody that you are neither here nor there. You're supposed to be going through an educational system, but you're neither here nor there. And it's been on for 5 months. And the country is going on as if nothing is happening, like everything is going on smoothly. In some other climes, yes. In some other climes, the whole country would be on a standstill. So the reason we actually took on this conversation to continue today was that the lecturer we had, Dr. Wasedo, said something yesterday, that if the Nigerian people came together to say that we are not moving, we're not going on the streets, but we're sitting in our houses until ASUU is resolved, that the government will take it seriously. So it got me thinking, really, why is Uti looking at me like this? Who has this power to end this ASUU strike? Is it the parents? Is it the Nigerian people? Is it ASUU themselves? Is it the government? Who has this capacity to end the strike? That's why I called you my ladies here today.
I didn't know there was someone.
It's a someone.
Use more energy I have to vibrate a little. How do you call it, right? To vibrate on this issue. After that, I'm going to power down. I wasn't on the show yesterday. I really wish I was. Because I love today's quote about insanity. Almost my entire life, ASUU has been going on strike. My brother spent 7 years in LASU over ASUU strikes. Is it the overeducatedness that is worrying them? I'm sorry, right? We are all aggrieved. Everybody, in fact, doctors, nurses, everybody strike. Ipman strike, petrol station strike, bus drivers, everybody, Nupeng, Pengerson, everybody. Let's all go on strike because we are unhappy. They should stop it. I'm sorry, right? Whatever their grievances is. I joined this conversation, but I was saying it today, I have no reference for ASUU because my brother's situation was sufficiently traumatic enough for myself and my family for me to. So let me just, the last one at least, where I joined the conversation was on the matter of payment, and you just talked about the UTAS system versus the IPPIS. Please, we are all employed or employers around this table. Which employee tells the employer how they want to be paid? For starters, which one? I'm gonna get up today and say, hey, you know what? I refuse to be paid in this bank account that you say you pay me. You must pay my money. I mean, come on. So when we ask the question about who can stop the strike, first of all, whatever your grievances are, I can guarantee you there's an industry that has bigger grievances than you. Is it an infrastructure problem? You want to ask the drivers on the road, the ones who their daily lives are spent driving on today's roads? Or you want to ask all the businesses who are powering themselves, who doesn't have a pebble in their shoe right now at the government? And then somehow you think because you have a PhD or because you read book, woe is me, we should sit at home because of you? It's because technology has not come to take all your jobs. By the time all these students find cheaper, and the edutech companies are coming, by the time they come here, and the Nigerian youth start to develop skills that are cheaper, and finding jobs in foreign currency, and nobody cares that you're whining about schools being on strike, perhaps we will move past this conversation. Because I'm sorry, you are learned. You can come to the table and stop negotiating what you have been negotiating for at least almost 30 years, that at least the one I know. Stop it. But we say no. Now you come to the point, come and sit and tell me we should all sit at home because you are what? The education system, the graduates you have pumped out today, what is their quality? What are you doing to contribute to a solution rather than being part of the problem? If anybody wants to gripe today, will it not be doctors? Those ones are finding their way, they are leaving the country, they haven't shut the hospitals down. It's the difference between the doctors and the lecturers, the Hippocratic oaths. They should stop it. And then our young people are here, and today we say, oh, the country is not moving, the country is not. They should even be ashamed of themselves, that in the face of them not even being able to do their work and do it with some dignity, that young people are still thriving and great things are still coming out of the youth of Nigeria. They should stop it. Find a way to negotiate something that will not be endless. If the strikes had worked, would you be, some of them have been striking their entire career. Are they not tired?
You know, it's so interesting that you're sounding like this, because Uti, in some other claims, because that was why I had to take that quote. Insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. In some other claims, right? If they just say we are, before they go, as they start the strike, before they enter, the government has already answered them. Do you understand? In France, when the workers, the farmers say, I beg, we are tired, they go on strike. The next day, they're already resolving the matter. But you already see that this government is not even ready to resolve an issue, and you keep on embarking on an endless strike. You know, for me, it does not make any sense. Can we just find a practical solution? But let me hear, Elsie, your thought, then I'll come to you, Norma.
And please, let's note that it's not just this administration. Like I said, this thing is a lifetime. Oh.
It affected some of us. How old are we today?
Thank you.
So I think Uti has summarized my thoughts in, but I don't even agree that the country is moving forward, because in the things that she has said, it is pinching everybody in one way or the other. We're talking of diesel, we're talking of petrol, we're talking of power, we're talking of, I mean, everything, infrastructure, nothing is really working. And I feel like we're broken people, whether we like to be very optimistic or not. We're just surviving. We're just hoping for the next day. We woke up today. You came back safe. Nothing happened. They did not kidnap you. Then you go back to sleep. So you are not even in the right frame of mind to begin to remember that ASUU is on strike, and then you're counting it. It's now a case of, oh, my child is at home. What next can you do? Are you learning a skill? The last time we had this conversation about ASUU, this same strike, I remember talking about my niece, that maybe she's making money more than the parents.
And even the video that went viral.
Right, because what is she doing? She's making dresses, and every week she is busy. She's not even interested in your ASUU or whatever. And we know that there is an importance that is placed on education, and it's not misguided, right? But if you have not created a system that encourages these young people to see that value, then you can't even expect them to, even for themselves, stand up and fight, because fighting does not make sense anymore. If this has been happening for over 30 years, then what do you want them to fight for? Why should they be fighting if the parents are supposed to be the PhD holders, like she has said, cannot sit down and reason properly, find solution to the problem, then what should people really do to solve this problem?
So you don't agree with the lecturer that says that if we as Nigerians took on ASUU issue as our issue and we join them in this fight, maybe an end will come to this.
So how does he propose? How does he propose we take on the issue to fight?
Sitting at home and not
join
go
them in the madness of striking. Who is taking up your fight?
I like that you said it's not just
Inflation.
this administration, but it still pains me because, I mean, I'm not going to lay all the blame on their feet, but they came in with a promise, change, right? But for every year of that change, we've had our strikes. Let's call it our strike now. It's like our daily bread. We are having it. It will happen. Next year, you're expecting it. And right now, you're seeing people coming out to claim that they are the next best thing for Nigeria, right? But this conversation is not even part of the conversation. Nobody's talking about ASUU. It's almost like the country is now on a cruise control.
So that's what I'm saying.
It is not anybody's business.
Blackmail the government.
No, but
you have a system that works. Look, you're a public servant, I keep saying it. As an employer, can your employee come and tell you today how they want to get paid?
no.
So, I mean, let us even be clear as to whether the strike itself has legs. Yes, there are infrastructure problems. Now, let me tell you why I'm so upset. And sorry. And like I said, this thing, how do universities make money? These lecturers have the capacity, if they focus their energies in the right places, to make money for their universities. You can do research. Their
But research abroad, Uti, are funded.
Heavily
funded.
Not by the government.
Yes, by individuals, by corporate bodies, and
So
all of that.
is the time you spend fighting the government. If you wanted to fix your infrastructure issues in your school, you could actually
Approach the corporate bodies.
Get corporate bodies, build yourself up, and make your school a model and charge money. That is what the private universities are doing, and people are paying.
And even so even speaking to what she is saying, right? If you
And who's
go,
supposed to be running that?
It's not about who is running them. We've already agreed that for the last how many years, the government has not budged. And we can see that the entire country is on a downward spiral in a lot of places. Infrastructure, and it is. So you are expecting that something should magically happen in your space that has not happened in the rest of the country. But you have more capacity than other parts of the country. You even have the opportunity to use the expertise and skill and capacity that you have to raise money. But no, you want cap in hand to force the government, to force your employer.
they're not ready to raise money.
You know what? Let's take a
That's the
break.
thing. Because when you go to them with these ideas, oh, let's do this, they are not interested.
Let's take a break. We'll come back from the break and continue. We want to open our phone lines. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, it's our Ladies' Night Out, and our focus today is the unending ASUU strike, and we're asking who has the power to end the strike. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WaveShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. Our phone line is now open. The number to call is 07025007749. That's the number to call. Please remember to turn off the volume of your television set. Noma, I've not heard your thoughts on this. Who do you think we should call on to, to intervene on this unending strike? Are you in support? Are you in agreement with Uti saying that it still lies in the hands of the lecturers themselves, or do you agree with the school of thought that Nigerians have the capacity to do so?
Well, I agree to a certain extent that the lecturers have a responsibility, because really, like Uti said, you can't continue to do something over the years. I mean, some of us were affected. We came out of school plus 1-2 years after we were supposed to graduate and all. So it has been a problem from time immemorial. But the lecturers now, how have they come together to say, okay, this is not working? What other ways can we begin to solve this problem for ourselves? But then I will also give responsibility to the government. if these are federal schools and the schools, except the government says, you know what, fine, we no longer want to run these institutions. Because really, in most climes, like you said, most of the climes, the government is not involved in institutions like this. You are able to find funding or get corporate bodies who can fund, or even some of them have strong alumni that funds the schools and keep them. That's why some of them that we hear about, prestigious schools, it is because of the strong alumni that they have. So these are other means that other climes have used to be able to fund their universities. But then again, it comes to the mindset we have here in Nigeria. Of course, our government, I was reading some article that was put, as far back as May, our presidency through the special advisor, his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, said that, the presidency is out to make sure that this ends, within the quickest possible time. So it looked like something serious was going to take place. But this is July, and we're still having these conversations. And this is conversation after conversation after conversation over a span of how many years? And we're asking why. It's because the people involved, which are our children, are not taken seriously. You mentioned rightfully the quality of the education. On the part of the lecturers, I'm going to say, how much impact have you made for you to even have the basis to say that, yes, we have a ground to present our argument? And then on the part of the government, why this is supposedly the future of Nigeria, isn't it? And you cannot accord, this has gone on for 6 months and counting. And if in the process of this past 6 months, there has been some level of commitment, by now we should be getting to a point where we are getting some level of what's the word? Conclusion. But nobody is taking it seriously because they are not directly affected. And that's where my problem is. If the lecturers themselves, their children are not involved, it's not their problem. They can stay on strike forever.
But the lecturer
if the government themselves, their children are not involved, it's not their problem. So who is suffering at the end of the day? Is it not the Nigerians themselves? And at the end of the day, whose problem is it? It is our problem. So where are we going to go from here? Is the issue. I think the government by now, come on, this has been how many years? Yes, I agree with you, Uti, that the lecturers should be able to take ownership at some point. But on the part of the government, can you pretend to at least do something in your time of 8 years that there was some percentage towards closure concerning this matter?
This conversation, right, there are so many sides to this, and I think sometimes, when I look back, it's just a pity situation. I went to Delta State University, and I think I've said this thing several times when I'm called upon to talk about these strikes. And I remember it was then James Ibori that was the governor of the state. So even when there were nationwide strikes and all of that, he never, at some point he called the vice chancellor of his own university and said, I am paying you guys, right, from the state coffers. Please stay away from anything called strike. So he funded the school. He made sure that, at the appropriate times, the lecturers were paid and all of that. But you see, this innovation that you're talking about, Uti, is something that is a big problem across Nigeria. It's not even just restricted to the educational sector. A lot of us are not innovative. We now sit down and say, there are no jobs. We now say there's no this, there's no that. Do you understand? But, how have you improved yourself personally? And because I remember when Uti and we had this conversation, you said people that are skilled, right? They are never out of lack of a job. And that's the reality. Well, everybody's shouting, there's no work, there's no work. Those people that have groomed themselves and they skilled them, have improved on their skills, they never lack a job. It's the same structure that we should apply with the educational sector. So we have a caller, Mr. Roland. Thank you for calling.
Hello, good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Good evening.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the issue of ASUU and the federal government saga is very, very embarrassing. The fact is, I ask myself a question, so nobody has passion for this country called Nigeria again. We're talking about the education sector, our tomorrow destiny as a country. No country has ever survived and made it without educating the younger ones. I know there are two sides to this issue. The federal government, the ASUU, but let me dwell on the government. If I came online with you, I was watching South Africa prior to their hosting of the World Cup 2010. People like Desmond Tutu of Blessed Memory, Mandela the king, when they appeared before FIFA, looking at the degree of men who came forward, they could not deny them the hosting right. But today in Nigeria, who do we look onto? Look at our past leaders, even those that are even there today, they are all grabbers. They are just there for what they can get, not what they can offer. We remember then when we were growing, there are some issues you get, you run to your elder brother, you run to your daddy. But today, who do we have to run to? Now, I thank God for some few governors who are, look at what happened at those state governor, Baseki. I think he was able to sort out Ambrose University. Then, if the federal government are not ready to run our institutions, they tell the whole world, they can hands up. We know few private universities that are thriving well today. They can sell it off as the establishment during Obasanjo's time. If they've never sold Nitel, we won't have MTN and others today. If government telecom is running, they will frustrate the private telecoms. So what I see is, from the Buhari, our dear president, so does he have passion for education again? This matter has lingered so much. Somebody needs to stand up and play the cards.
Thank you.
It's very, very embarrassing.
Thank you. So
I was the ASUU aspect of it. I think the ASUU should ask themselves questions because I see issue of distrust. The government doesn't trust ASUU. ASUU doesn't trust the government. Okay, past years money has been released. What was done with those money? They said research. And for over 6-10 years, have there been any research that came out from our universities? Have you anyone to go to tell me? So these are questions we need to ask ourselves. We know what happens in our universities. They say he that seek equity should come with a clean hands. So ASUU themselves should be able to sit down and do a holistic study among themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you,
because
Mr.
the
Roland.
government need to trust him.
Thank you so much. This conversation, I don't even know where to start from. See, there's something I need ASUU to understand, because when you're talking about being underpaid, I spoke with someone, a lecturer in one of the top private universities in this country. The salary was pitiable. Do you understand? So it's not a function, it's not unique. And this is where I'm trying to go with this argument. It's not unique to the federal universities that lecturers are not being paid properly, right? It's a general thing that we do not attach value when it comes to. It's not only education, even salary structures. You have to develop yourself to demand certain kinds of income.
There's no public servant today that is not
Underpaid.
There are how many states are saying they are being owed salaries? Your situation is not unique, but you know what you can do? You can resign, you can go elsewhere. The medical staff today that are tired in Nigeria, we're experiencing brain drain. Why? They are here today, they are gone tomorrow. So again, why stay in a place and frustrate the situation? Which is why I love today's quote. You can't have done something consistently for 10, 20 years and you haven't made headway and you want to continue?
That's insanity. Let's take some comments. It's interesting, Norma.
It's painful, actually. Okay, I have this comment. This is from Bissy. She says, "Good evening, ladies. Quite an interesting topic. I always side the people, but I'm afraid I'll support what Uti said. For now, some students have taken to crime due to idleness. Some too have been torn in the flesh to their parents, have been a thorn in the flesh to their parents due to frustration of staying at home. Lecturers haven't been paid for 5 months, but at the end of all this, they will be paid, but students can never recover time wasted. I hope ASUU will agree on a compromise just for the sake of the students. The political class are not bothered. Things are going on as nothing is happening, as if nothing is happening in the educational space. I wish
No,
the
hold
students...
hold that thought quickly.
Okay.
You continue. I think we have a caller. I don't want to keep him too long.
Okay.
Shehu from Jalingo.
Yes.
Thank you for calling. Sorry for keeping you.
Thank you very much. The sincere truth is, it's like we are not afraid, we don't fear God. Our leadership now totally don't fear God. If we fear God 30 years ago, if we had fear of God, I'm telling you, we will be sincere. These universities are too much. Let us be frank. Let us be frank with ourselves. Universities are too much. Let us privatize half of our university. Half will be for government. If the government cannot be able to take proper care of payment of workers' salary, then let us privatize 50% of the university and 50% will also the government can now take care of.
Okay. Thank you.
Paying for almost 5 months or 1 year without study is very bad.
Thank you,
very
Shehu.
bad. It's shameful. A whole big country like Nigeria, we cannot fund education.
Thank you so much. Norma, please go ahead with the comment. Quickly wrap it up then.
All right. I hope ASUU will agree on a compromise just for the sake of the students. The political class are not bothered. Things are going on as nothing is happening in the educational space. I wish the students and the masses will pick their PVC and vote for candidates that have good plans towards education. Stay blessed.
You know, when Uti says what's happening in health, people are going out of the country if they should resign. They can't resign because they don't have the value and the work ethics it takes to
attract other...
Let me take a caller.
That's the only place they have relevance.
Absolutely.
I'm not going anywhere.
Let me take, I think, Joseph from Lagos. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just want to say it's only in this country, like you all have been saying, that the institutions of learning will be allowed to be locked up for this long of time. Now, you are proposing that the lecturers should take part of the university. How possible is it in the hands of politicians who are just 8 years old? The main vice chancellor will give the school and run out some money back for any institution or any country, and the minister of education will hear that they go out to the begging maybe or tomorrow to have them to use a study that will take the car into the oven. And so please, the previous will give us money to do that. And the politician will not come after you and say, why are you going about? We say we can live with your government institution. How do they take over? These things are not practical.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. We're having a bit of struggle trying to hear you. I'm sorry. I need to hear.
Did you hear anything?
So he's asking about what Uti had said about going to private organizations where politicians do 8 years. You know, how do you expect a vice chancellor to go and put all that structure of what's it called, setting up and asking private organizations to fund the school and all of that? See, because you see, the thing is,
it's not about asking them to fund the school. Let's be clear. This thing is not new. And we try to always do this in Nigeria. We seem as if our problems there are no solutions. It is not a new process. The reason of you getting a PhD is that you do research. You become an expert in your field. When COVID happened, it was universities and schools that did the research to find, so I believe we even had something happen here in Nigeria, finding the genomes and being able to identify. This is what teaching is the smallest part of their job.
Yeah.
This is what they do.
Let me take Loma from Abia State. Quickly, you have a minute. Last caller.
Thank you, my dear sister. Good evening.
Good evening.
As I'm looking at this topic, who has power to end it? It is the federal government. I remember when Jonathan was when he get off, Jonathan will sit down and meet with those people, like with Yasu.
Okay, so this argument,
find it very difficult, especially our president. I've never seen him coming down to sit down in a round of
Loma, so I don't want us to continue this narrative, Loma. Loma, I'm sorry, but I don't want us to keep having this argument, right? It is not a human being that has the capacity to keep a system running. We can't keep saying, oh, when this person was president, he was sitting down with resolving. We don't even want the issues to be brought up ever again. Let's find a permanent solution. There are climes in this country, in this world, that do not even, they don't even know what a strike is for universities. Can we start to think about those things holistically? Not about an individual. It's not about a president coming to sit down to make sure in his own tenure there's no strike. Then what happens after he leaves the office? We can't keep having that argument. I'm sorry. Let's take our final comments. Ladies, your comments are not dropping. The real reason ASUU is on strike: 1, reduction of visits to other universities from 3 to 1 by the federal government. 2, IPPS. No government has spent more money on universities than this government. Please, this kind of comments, I don't want to have them. Honestly, people, most people in leadership today went to school free of charge. But today, public schools, such as secondary schools, are shadows of themselves. It is fortunate that, or it may be unfortunate, that so-called rulers lack any solution to this lingering problem to our educational sector. Then finally, let me just take our last comment. He says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? The unending ASUU strike. To me, I don't know if I am wrong or right. I feel that it is the government that has the power to end the strike. They have the resources that ASUU is asking for, and without those things provided, the strike will continue. Apart from that, lecturers should be well paid. These people have so many mouths to feed. Secondly, Power Holding Company of Nigeria is very ridiculous. Who does this, for crying out loud? How can the bill? How can they bill someone 50 to 60 million naira a month? This is abnormal and highly unacceptable. God help us all. My name is Daniel Ilo. You know what? We've run out of time, but thank you so much, ladies. I think we need to bring up this conversation again. Truth is, I'm tired of all those arguments. We can't keep having one person fix Nigeria's problem. No, we need to start building a structure.
At the end of the
It's a
day,
mindset
at the end of
thing.
people
People
were
were
built
built
up
still
to
be fixed. The government have to
the
stop.
government has
But I'm
to
saying
because
not
there
as
are
an individual.
policies.
I'm saying a
I'm
structure.
sorry, if you are the president, it's still your job.
No, we can't
Well,
keep
time
having
has
that.
gone. Let's be going.
Now, before we go, thank you so much, ladies. Follow us on Instagram, PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I don't know who is insane here, but somebody is insane. Now, please, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another conversation to your screen. Enjoy.